Hello everyone, I'm Bino Varghese, Senior Engineer IBM. With me I have Akhil.
Hi everyone, I am Akhil, Software Engineer at IBM.
So today let's explore API discovery. API discovery from the API provider's point of view, by which they can turn their hidden APIs into strategic assets. Today, organizations are building hundreds and thousands of APIs. APIs are helping digital transformation, apps, products, integrations, everywhere. And these organizations are building at a very rapid pace. In this AI era, or the agentic AI era, agents talk to tools via APIs. And agents build APIs. In today's morning keynote as well, Mehdi emphasized the importance of APIs in AI world. So this stats shows the numbers, how big the API landscape is. With that, let me ask you a question. How many of you feel confident that you know all the APIs that exist in your organization? Or at least have a clear idea of what's out there? Anyone? Yeah, that's the reality, yeah. So most organizations do not have a clear idea of all the APIs that they own. Who is responsible for what, or whether they are secure or not. Hidden APIs do exist. It's like a kitchen pantry. So you have some jars that are neatly organized and clearly labeled, but there could be some other jars that are hidden at the back or at the bottom of the shelves. Those hidden jars could be labeled or unlabeled, but it is hidden. What happens? Over time, this becomes unmanaged. Unmanaged, unsecure, and maybe even harmful to consume. This exactly happens with APIs. Hidden APIs becomes unmanaged, unsecure, and even cause harm. Let's see what causes hidden APIs. Teams often work in silos. If you relate to the kitchen example, it's like a family member bringing some items to your kitchen. Inconsistent documentation. Some jars are labeled, some are not. Some APIs have documentation, but some do not. Legacy code bases, very important. A family member brought an item some time ago, and you have no clue what it is. No single source of truth exists. So these are the problems why hidden APIs exist in our organization. Now let's see the impact. This is an extract taken from a recent Gartner research that says the shadow APIs or the hidden APIs exceed the magnitude of, causing data breaches exceed the magnitude of other breaches. So think about the impact. It's huge. The volume of APIs is huge, and the impact that is creating here is also huge. It just doesn't stop there. It's much more than that. Think about the developers. They often rebuild something that is already existing, causing frustration among the community. I'm sure many developers out here can relate to that. Security teams, it's very critical for them because they miss the hidden risks. Let's take the product and business teams. They also can't reuse. Their delivery becomes slow. Whenever there is duplication, there is also a factor called cost. Duplicate effort, duplicate infra, everything adds up to the cost. So this has a ripple effect across our organization. So we discussed hidden APIs, what causes hidden APIs, and its impact. Now let's see how we can sort this out. API discovery. API discovery is your smart pantry scanner. API discovery is a process by which you can find all the APIs that exist in your organization. There are two approaches for solving this. or two kinds of API discovery. One is the static one and the dynamic one. Let's see one by one. Static discovery. Static discovery is the process by which you identify the API from the available OpenAPI specs. So the idea is like, say, if your team has a practice of committing the OpenAPI specs to some repositories, to the GitHub repositories. Let's take the example of GitHub. Any storage should be fine, but let's take the example of GitHub. So if your team has a practice of maintaining the OpenAPI specs, as and when any spec is updated or added, your GitHub pipeline or the GitHub Actions checks for the OpenAPI specs and pushes it to a discovery dashboard, what we call as a discovery dashboard. So discovery dashboard is nothing which maintains the list of discovered APIs. So this is like, say, if you relate to the kitchen example, this is like you are identifying the jars or labeled jars, because you have labels, you have documentation. This technique is only possible for APIs that are designed upfront, or the documented APIs, or the metadata-rich APIs. But we know that all APIs are not documented. All kitchen jars doesn't have labels. So let's see the dynamic discovery. In case of dynamic discovery, we recreate the OpenAPI specs. We do not have the OpenAPI spec, so we recreate them from the live traffic. It's like you are monitoring the kitchen activity, no matter who is cooking, identifying the ingredients, labeling them, and identifying the ingredients. One example you can take, or a typical one you can take, is OpenTelemetry data. OpenTelemetry is the vendor neutral standard for telemetry data, logs, traces, and metrics. Sam also mentioned in his keynote about OpenTelemetry yesterday. Especially, so let's see how this is in action. So typically systems like Nginx, Istio emit the OpenTelemetry data, and you build a collector for collecting that. You process and reconstruct. That is like from OpenTelemetry to OpenAPI specs. Let's see a high-level algorithm of how you can convert that. You should filter noise, obviously. Not every traffic is APIs, right? Redact the data. Normalize the paths or group the paths. When I say normalize, it's like you can think of like orders /123, orders /456 should be interpreted as orders /order ID. And group them. Orders should be in a group. Then you push to the API discovery dashboard, which I mentioned earlier, which maintains the list of your discovered APIs. So this is very useful for undocumented APIs, legacy systems, third-party softwares. We discussed about static, we discussed about dynamic. But these two form a very powerful combination. Each has its own advantages, but these two form a powerful combination. They help you to build a living inventory of APIs. That is important, living inventory. You're getting a living inventory of APIs in your organization. So you have now the APIs in your discovery dashboard from both static and dynamic approaches. What to do next? Of course, everything won't be available in the dashboard. You have to take decisions after evaluating them. Few aspects you should evaluate is based upon the business value, usage, who uses, how much it is being used. Check the security aspect of it. If it has business value, obviously you should fix any security issues, manage it, and publish it, or even monetize it. You see, the value is coming from the hidden APIs. If we say this is being used by some internal teams, and it's not critical, and you know that it's going to be removed after a POC or so, maybe it's okay to keep it. But the key thing is that you are aware of it. You are aware of it. If you feel that it is redundant or obsolete, take actions to remove it. Now, discovery pays for everyone. Developers, they have the visibility, they can reuse. Architects, they get the visibility, they can enforce the governance rules. They can manage the life cycle of APIs effectively. Security teams, it's a game changer because they can't fix anything which they don't see. So they can see everything, they can fix the vulnerabilities or risks. Product teams, again, can reuse, accelerate their delivery, they can maintain their costs. AI and data teams, especially when we are looking for MCP assets or MCP tools, APIs become a strong point there. So they can also accelerate the AI adoption by discovering these APIs, whatever is existing. So this helps the entire organization. So it has an impact on the entire organization. So if you don't have something in place, how to start? As always, start it small. Pick up a small cluster in your lower environment. Identify your sources where all you can tap the data. Implement the collectors, necessary logic. And then set up a process to classify and act. It could be human, or you could automate parts of them. Once you get a whole picture, iterate and expand. So we saw a lot of chaos in the beginning, but we see that discovery helps to bring that clarity. Like we say, knowing everything in the kitchen helps you to cook better meals. API discovery helps organizations to stay secure, innovate faster, and to unlock the value that was already existing but was just hidden. With that, let me hand over to Akhil to show you a demo of API discovery. Over to you, Akhil.
Yeah, so Bino has discussed two different methods to discover APIs. So I'll take one of the example and will show you how this in action. Before diving into the demo, I would like to set some context of the demo, this demo setup. Let's imagine in your organization, your workloads are running in a Kubernetes cluster with an Istio service mesh. And I have taken a sample application, which is a Stance robot shop, which is deployed by some other team. But the sad part is there is no API specification available or the limited documentation available. So how we discover this? So one of the technique we used in our solution is we use this tech stack, Istio and OpenTelemetry. So we hook in OpenTelemetry with Istio gateway. So Istio, when the traffic flows through the Istio gateway, the trace data will flow into the API discovery backend service. That's where the actual magic happens. Like we have a custom algorithm written, which will analyze the trace data from which is in OpenTelemetry format, and it will generate an OpenAPI spec. So we'll see little more details into how the infra look like. We have the robot shop have different services, backend services running, and there is also a web app front end which is highlighted. And whenever an API call happens through the front end, it will go via Istio gateway and from there to different backend systems. During that process, it will emit the trace data, which will feed into the OpenTelemetry collector, and from there, the collector will push into the API discovery dashboard where the processing happens. So we'll show you a quick demo. Actually, I wanted to show this live, but because of the internet, I'm showing the recording. So here, this is the robot shop. Sorry. 1 second. Yeah. So, sorry about that. So this is the robot shop application, which is running in the same cluster. And this is the discovery dashboard, which we have. And ideally, the discovered API should appear here. And here we have some configuration how to connect it with Istio and the OpenTelemetry collector. So once every configuration is done, and I'll go back to the robot shop and we'll simulate some user interactions. So if I click on the links, it's actually the API traffic is flowing. So its traffic is flowing via Istio gateway, and the OpenTelemetry trace data is now being sent to the discovery backend, and the algorithm is processing it now and converting into Open API spec. So it's actually building an Open API spec now behind the scene. And if we go back to the discovery dashboard, refresh, you can see the data source, which is robot shop, and all the APIs discovered from the source. And it will give very basic OpenAPI spec. As you can see, it's already built an OpenAPI spec. You can download it from here. And let's explore some more APIs. Yeah, this is another one. Another one, then API, yeah, I'll post it here. So if you see here, the last part, the path param. So the algorithm identified it's a variable path. So the algorithm is intelligent to identify that fetch /123 or fetch /xyz. The last part is actually a path param, and it recognized that and put it in the OpenAPI spec. So I'll fast forward a bit. And one more thing to remember is like this algorithm works in such a way that if we get more traffic, the algorithm performs better. So that's a key point here. So yeah, these are some of the other APIs which group together. So in a nutshell, how it works is it analyzes the OpenTelemetry traces. It runs through two different processes. One is the grouping, another is the path normalization. So that's the two things which happens during this process. And that's how it identifies different APIs and build an OpenAPI spec. And obviously, the spec is not complete. It's up to the API developer's job to make it better. Add, if the developer wants, he can copy it to the development section, and he can add additional policies, security policies, and then run through some governance tools. And if everything is fine, can publish as a live API. And this is one of the way we can make a hidden API which can possible to generate revenue for the organization. So yeah, that's all I wanted to show from the demo side. I'll post this, and like Bino mentioned, our intention is to discuss the process. So anyone can build this from scratch using various technologies. So in our case, we choose Istio and OpenTelemetry, and you can build it from scratch using your own algorithm. Or the other way is IBM API Connect have this feature built in as a feature, and we can sign up for a free trial, play around, let us know the feedback. And we have another offering in place, which is IBM Web Methods Hybrid Integration, which is a one-stop solution for all your integration needs. So feel free to sign up for that. Yeah, and we are open to questions. Feel free to.
Yeah, we can take few questions, one or two. Hey, I'm from Atlassian, Himanshu, and I want to ask you that you are effectively intercepting requests as well. How do you handle PII data over there when you're constructing the OpenAPI spec?
So in the OpenTelemetry trace data, the minimum two information which is needed is the API path and the request method, whether it is a GET request or POST request. So with this minimum information also, we can process this. So that's the only information we need. We don't need anything else. So it's then at the later phase during the development, when API developer develops it, he can add redact policy to remove PIA data. That's possible within the API management solution.
Is there any overhead in intercepting the traffic because it adds an additional layer?
So this is not designed for this purpose actually. So OpenTelemetry is a standard. Like we can plug it with Istio as well as Nginx. Many organizations are already using it. We used it for a different purpose.
Okay.
So yeah.
Anyway, OpenTelemetry.
Okay.
Anyway, that's available.
Right.
And
Thank
it's the international standard used for the telemetry.
you. Got it. Thank you.
Hi, thanks for the talk. Is it possible also to track API requests that happen one after another with this discovery, or is it only point to point?
You mean the request chaining?
So once you discover the API specification, who calls this API, or internally if a service calls another API, then that calls another API? Does the trace happen like that also?
We don't have that hierarchy building as of now, but it will identify each endpoint invocation as independent. But if it is related, it will group in one single bucket and it will show like that.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Is this licensed separately as a product or is it part of a bigger product? So how do you license this?
This one.
Yeah.
API Connect.
It comes with the product and we have different offerings. If you are opting for a SaaS offering, it's readily available. But if it is on-prem offering, this is an optional feature. You can turn this on and there is no additional licensing for this.
Got it.
IY is also a different offering. The IBM Web Methods hybrid integration, which has all built in, like APIs, events, files, you name it, everything it has. One-stop solution for all your integration needs.
Same capability. This feature is built into it, so definitely leverage that.
Thank you, Bino and Akhil, for your presentation and demo. Big round of applause.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Feel free to connect with us if you have any further questions, or we will be here. Feel free to connect with us.
Thanks, everyone.